Lights up, everyone. Welcome back to the Dressing Room Diaries, the podcast where 3 drama students figure out our future in the arts, talk all things theatre and performance, and try to make sense of this unpredictable industry. I'm Lexi, and today I'm taking the lead on this episode, while Honor takes a step back. But don't worry, I've still got Abby with me.
Yep, I'm here, ready to dive in.
And today we've got an exciting episode lined up. We're chatting to the brilliant minds behind Bitterroot Theatre Company, finding out what it actually takes to start your own theatre company from scratch. Because let's be honest, we've all had that moment where we think, screw it, I'm just going to make my own work. But how do you actually do that? What are the challenges? And is it as chaotic as it sounds? We'll be asking them about their journey, the themes they are passionate about, and the lessons they've learned along the way.
And then we're tackling a big one, Spotlight. We hear about it all the time, but is it really as important as everyone says? Does it actually help you get work, or is it just another cost to worry about?
So whether you're dreaming of starting your own theatre company, trying to work out the next steps in your acting career, or just here for some honest behind-the-scenes chat, stick with us because this one's going to be good. So let's welcome Jake and Chris.
Hello!
Hello everyone, how are we today?
Yeah, great. We just got being called brilliant minds.
Yeah.
It's quite nice to
get used to. You see, you feel like celebrities, don't you?
Yeah.
It's great. I would love this.
I would.
Getting invited to a podcast and
to get
just
friendly with
talking
the
about
first
yourself.
year,
Yeah.
so bring us
Yeah.
back.
So you guys came to this university, didn't you? And
Yeah,
you did the same
indeed.
course that we're on.
Yeah.
How did
Drama
you-
and contemporary performance.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what we're on.
We
Yeah.
were the first cohort.
The guinea pigs.
Pretty much the guinea pigs.
Oh, were you?
Do you think?
Yeah. Oh, man. Big
No,
time.
they were. Like, you
Really?
know how the course didn't, like, it only just started quite recently.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
were the first year of it.
First.
Yeah,
Wow.
We were like the tester babies for all the weird shit they made us do.
I bet it's
Just
changed.
imagine.
I bet it's changed a lot from then.
Because we still feel like guinea pigs
Yeah,
now.
right.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what that was like.
How-
Is it? Do you find that it's still like kind of shifting, and you have a say in how things are, what the focus on some of the modules are, or anything?
I feel like they still ask us like our opinion. Like just then, I
Okay.
just did my presentation, and we got asked like how would we want them to do it differently, kind of thing. So I do
Yeah.
feel like they're still working, but it's good.
I like that though.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Sort of, it gives you a lot of freedom, and sort of they'll cater to the way that we want it to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
How did you find this course when you were on it? Like, what?
Yeah, honestly, looking back on it, I actually really enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
loved it. It really like catered to what I was found excited about theatre. So yeah, it was easy for me to get stuck into making projects,
Yeah.
considering like the amount of freedom you can get to kind of make whatever you want. A lot of the
Definitely.
time,
Yeah.
I found was brilliant. Just because we got to trial out stuff, which then eventually we were able to kind of put
Yeah,
into the real world as
exactly.
well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I know.
Even though it was during the pandemic.
I
wow.
evidently I've just blocked that out of my memory. I don't
Wait,
want to
so
talk about that.
what year affected
We
you?
started in 2019, so at the end of first year, the pandemic started, and then second year was pretty much all like online.
Wow.
We had to
Yeah,
try
that
to
year
do
don't count.
and learn about immersive theatre and create immersive theatre over Zoom.
Oh,
Oh
that.
my
Which
God,
is
no.
pretty tricky.
That's
Yeah.
my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
I'm such an in-person person, so
Yeah,
when I have
yeah.
to do something online, I hate it. I
Yeah.
hate the whole of
Trust
COVID.
me, even like the in-person stuff when it was still kind of COVID was proper weird, because like we'd have like these boxed out coffin spaces, and you were only allowed to stay in that space for the entirety of the lesson.
2
and, like,
meters away from everyone else.
Oh my
Really?
God.
And the performances that you were doing and stuff, so you just had to.
Oh,
like,
see,
think
we
about it and work
missed
around
we
it.
missed that whole thing. I was doing
Yeah.
my
That's
GCSEs
lucky.
during COVID, so I didn't actually do my GCSEs.
Oh, that's
so
actually kind of
We're the
yeah,
lucky
we're
ones.
the lucky ones. We
Yeah.
sound like babies now, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go on to Bitterroot Theatre Company.
Let's do it.
So I've just got a few questions that I want to ask, like how you came about it. So what inspired you both to establish Bitterroot, and how did your collaboration come about?
Well, it was from Project 3B.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
from it was all from the DCP course in third year.
Yeah, it was like me and Jake knew that we wanted to work together for a while,
Mm.
and then we were like, oh, this is the perfect opportunity to make something together.
Yeah. And as soon as we made that piece, I can't remember if it was when we were still at uni that we came up with Bitterroot.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
yeah. And we knew that we wanted to do more after uni. And we had a list of like 15 different company names. One of them was Chris and Jake's Wacky Theatre Company, which would have been a completely different direction.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But yeah, we just decided to keep on going after that initial play was.
Yeah,
was
kind of
successful.
just to see how far we could take it as well.
Yeah.
Because that was like one of the things the lecturer said was like, why not try and put it on somewhere? So like we took the show that we made in 3B to Fringe Festival in Bath.
Wow.
And then that was actually really good. That was a sold out show.
Yeah.
Then we did it again in Bath.
Yeah, because they asked us to come back in their
Yeah.
bigger venue, which is nice.
Oh, that is
that
great.
Yeah, then did it in Manchester at Contact Theatre. We did a shortened version.
For Emergency
Nice.
22.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then we did it again for in the Holding Gallery. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, for the degree show.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
the degree
Oh,
show.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah,
Which Antonia Beck came to.
Yeah.
Which is then where it all sort of like.
Got off his feet.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice,
Exactly.
nice. Would you say, because obviously you two are now like this duo that I feel like, did you ever work with each other before 3B? Or, because we always say, we actually spoke about it in our last episode, I feel like who you work with really matters on the final performance.
Definitely.
And we're all really wary of like who we want to work with, who we've worked with before and didn't like. Would you say, like, how did you guys, was it just like, oh, I just want to work with you so you work together?
Well,
Yeah, we had worked together before.
yeah.
Um,
Not as like intensely just as a pair though.
Yeah.
It was more within group stuff, and I think we could see by working in a group together that like the ways that we were kind of thinking like matched up quite easily anyway.
Yeah, I remember like we were doing a sort of contemporary version of Beckett's Endgame together.
The
And
Worcester group version.
Yeah, with Worcester group. Not with them, but
only.
about them.
Yeah.
That was sick. And Chris came in on the first day. And he'd like drawn out a whole like map of how he would want the stage to look, and I was like, this guy's switched on. I want to work with this guy.
Really, what they don't know is I was stoned the whole time.
It's a secret.
You know what? Might help. That's probably what gets you going.
That's how he came up with the idea of the piece in the first place. To be
Well, there you go.
Are we allowed to say this?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Don't worry.
it's over 18s, guys. So say about whatever you can swear. You
Yeah,
can do
close
whatever
your
you
ears.
want. So what? Because obviously I've never seen this performance that you originally did. What were the themes that you looked at? Where did you start, and how did you make the final thing?
Yeah,
the
so
process.
I guess the way that the piece originally started was that we wanted to be kind of simple in our approach to the structure as possible. So like, what are we actually doing? We're creating a piece of theatre, so let's do a show about someone creating something so that we can relate to what we're actually creating so much more. And then the entire thing kind of just snowballed. We started with this idea of this guy dragging a trunk on stage, and then what was in this trunk and stuff, and there was a body in the trunk. But that kind of started as like this initial framework imagery for what we could then start to build on. And we had loads of movement workshops and a lot of like theoretical conversations about what the themes are and stuff. And it kind of just snowballed and became this really intense, dark journey of mental health, of this guy struggling with this really intense bout of depression. We eventually get to the point where he takes the body out of the trunk, and then it becomes about this guy's relationship to this body, which he eventually paints, and it comes to life in this Frankenstein-esque kind of way. So it's about his relationship to the piece of art that he's just created, and what can it tell him about himself as he's going through this really intense, like, mental journey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until it kind of gets to the end of the piece where he kind of has to kill it, or it kills itself, but by that point he eventually reaches his like moment of self-acceptance and self-realization, and then that's kind of the catalyst at the end of the piece, which shows that he's able to kind of find some peace to be able to move on from this situation that you've seen him in for the rest of the piece.
Nice.
If it's to break, it's called, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wow. Would you say there's any challenges that you faced during the process of making it that you didn't expect?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to think. We made it a while ago now, and it's been through a few different variations.
I was going to say, I bet you've changed. Are there things that have been changed?
For
and
sure.
Yeah,
you've
a lot.
really,
For sure.
Yeah.
Because I mean, do you want to talk about like how it's changed from iteration to iteration?
Yeah. So the first time that we did it, we wanted to sort of just like we were already playing with this idea of currency, which Hester Chillingworth taught us in third year. I don't know if Hester still comes in, and I think it's called. I think they're called Ocean now.
Oh,
actually.
I think someone did. I think because there was like two
Project
separate
One.
groups. I think some people had Hester and we had Alice. We had Alice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the other group did, but we weren't in that group.
And it's this whole idea of like currency of like let's take like speech as a currency, for example. In order to make that currency expensive, you have to make it scarce. So at the beginning we had just no speech, and then it made eventually, when the first time that there was speech, it makes whatever is said in that moment more impactful. But I think for me it just felt a bit rushed the first time we did it, because I mean it was rushed because we were doing it a year. And then so to be able to do it again, we just played with that even more, of just like taking things slowly and sort of like letting things gradually build up, thinking of everything as a currency, to make these moments at the end really expensive.
And also just having the chance of getting Arts Council funding as well, to make
that's
it
another thing,
much more professional, and like how it kind of changed our view of like how this is actually going to be presented to like more audiences that we don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think uni helped you with that? Because obviously there's the module of Arts Council funding.
No,
Massively.
for sure. I don't
Yeah.
think we would have really gone for the Arts Council bid if
Yeah.
we didn't really have an understanding of it in the first place, to be fair, because it was quite a task to write the bid in the first place.
Yes.
That was my
Pages
next
and
question.
pages.
How did you go about funding the theatre company?
So
initially, before we got funding, it was kind of just off our own back, and then making whatever ticket sales we get from the fringe festivals that we were talking about in Bath. But Arts Council was the main funder.
Which we only found out about through uni, and I think that the big thing that helped us with that and get on track with that is the connections that we were put in touch with in third year. Tamsin Drury and Antonia Beck were two really, really pivotal people that gave us advice on how to go for an Arts Council bid. Tamsin Drury does has videoed like a 1 hour long description of how to do an Arts Council bid, basically.
Wow.
So you can find it online, or through Greater Manchester Arts. I think GMA. I think it's just called GMA. I'll find out and I'll send it to you guys. But like get in touch with Tamsin if she's got time, because she is really helpful.
It was just really utilising our network that we've kind of started to build a bit. Like,
that's the thing. Networking in this industry is actually the biggest thing. It's like the people. It's the people you know, not what you know. And I feel like people say that, but it actually is.
And you forget we've got a whole year.
We've got each
what's
other.
even there already.
Exactly. And you know what we were somewhere the other day and someone said that, and I was like, that's actually so true. Like people like Keris on our course, for example, she's so talented, and she just did a performance with Third Floor. So she's just done that performance, and
they got Maddie from Third Floor got the Eliza Charlotte Morris Award. Last year.
We're interviewing them next week.
Cool.
So that's cool. You guys know them.
That's, isn't that ironic? So what would you say are some challenges that you faced as a newly formed theatre company? You kind of just answered that. And how would you say that the challenges you face have experienced your growth, and how you handle future projects or future things?
Well, I mean, it was all just one massive learning curve. Like originally getting the Arts Council funding and then taking it on tour was like we were doing all of that for the first time. So we were learning how to do everything kind of on the spot. So I feel like it's definitely going to affect how we approach our next project. Because we have more of a understanding of like how we can, I don't know, be more efficient in going forward with what we're actually doing.
Yeah.
But I think that was probably the best way that we could have learned, is to actually just like do it. And it like, it isn't as like big and scary as it sounds. Like most of the time it is just about getting in touch with these venues, and like finding out who the programmer is of each theatre, and just sort of like sending them your like, it's good to have like a tour pack if you're doing a tour, and just sort of like have this document just outlining exactly what the play is. But as soon as you've got somewhere, because you sort of then are like, oh, shit, we've got a date, we have to perform on this date, it sort of just like springs you into action, and like forces you to rise to the challenge. So it's definitely the best way that we could have learned, is to just do it.
Straight
I
into
was
the
going to
deep
say,
end.
it's literally like pushing yourself as well, because I remember going to some of the theatres to pitch the show to the directors of the theatres and being like proper shit myself. Like, what am I doing? I just made all this up. Like, this guy loves it.
Do you two like live near each other? Because obviously you finish uni and then you've carried this on, and it's like for my 3B, we all live so like far away. Like Bella lives in Portugal. Like it's so different, but we would like love to do something like this with it, because of how much we liked it, and the process was really really educating, to be honest. Like you found a lot out about when you're making a performance. So do you live near each other? Like, how did you go about that?
Well, I think it's important to note once we
live together.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Ideal.
Oh, so you both stayed in Manchester?
No, so that's once we finished uni, I went to go live in Leeds for a year, and then Jake went back to Bristol for a year. And so back in that time, we were kind of doing our separate thing, but over phone calls, we'd be working on the Arts Council bid.
Right.
But yeah, then once those years were up, then we moved together in Manchester.
Oh, that's quite nice. You had like a year of like finding yourself, and then you came back together. That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, Jake had quite a prolific time when he was in Bristol, to be fair.
Yeah, go on, tell me.
He wasn't not busy.
I went down to I'm from Bristol, and there's a theatre there called the Bristol Vic. It's actually the oldest theatre in the whole of Europe, I found out.
Wow.
Oh no, the English speaking world. Yeah,
nice.
recently.
That is cool.
Yeah. So I really wanted to just like do something there, and they've got this course called Made in Bristol, which I highly recommend if anyone is moving to Bristol after uni. It's a residency at the Bristol Vic. They choose 13 performers, and you put on 2 plays. They give you funding, they give you rehearsal space, and then you just sort of like create theatre there. And then whilst that was going on, I wanted to sort of like keep on ticking over of any other sort of like passion projects, or sort of like I know I'm going to be in Bristol for 1 year. Is there anything I can just do, like just to do as much as I can in this year, I suppose, just make the most of it. Because I was living at home, which meant that I didn't have to worry about rent or anything like that, so it's a lot easier to focus on theatre when that's the situation. So I started up Carney Folk, which is an immersive theatre company that ran which is still running in Bristol now, actually. It's on its 4th season, and we've set it up together up in Manchester.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like that was only really possible because I had so much time. I don't think people should ever be ashamed of like going back to like live at home at homes if they can.
Yeah, see, that's the position I'm in now, because I'm like, you're just so stuck, and I'm like, I need to go home and just process and then think and then decide what's happening after. So that's interesting that you went home and then came back, because that's something that I think I would end up doing.
Me too.
Instead of just jumping straight into it.
Yeah.
Getting that gauge of what you actually want to do,
it's
and
not
how
a
you're going
rush,
to do it. There's no rush. Yeah. Would you say there's any on your journey with Bitterroot? Is there any particular moments or milestones that stand out to you that happened?
Getting the Arts Council bid was huge.
Yeah.
I remember like we submitted it and we were there like,
not gonna get it.
And then Jay gave me the ring and I was like, oh my god. I couldn't believe it.
This is real.
Like I'm actually getting paid for my own work for once. That was huge. Also, and I think performing at the Lowry on the first night of the tour as well was huge.
Wow. I love the Lowry. I think it's really nice.
But yeah, it was a massive crowd. everybody absolutely loved it as well. So yeah, I think those two moments are really special for Bitterroot in particular. Yeah.
Same for you.
How about you?
Well, for me, going down to Bristol just after Manchester, just because so many people that I knew there, just purely for personal reasons. But that one also was quite special because like there were people that it really resonated with, and like there was a lot of people that like I didn't know that they'd been going through a similar thing of sort of like just heightened anxiety and a case like depression, and I was chatting to these people and like they were going through the exact same thing and found it such a cathartic experience to be able to sort of just like watch two people sort of unleash all of their feelings about it, making them feel like they're able to then unleash their feelings.
Absolutely, yeah. Because you did, I was looking on the Instagram, and you did a partnership with Talk Club, the mental health charity. I bet that was quite a big moment for both of you as well, to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, one of the parts of the bid was that we wanted to create more of a package as well as just a show. So we wanted to be able to put on these workshops which were catered to like what the themes of the show were as well. So it would make sense within these workshops for it to be kind of focused on mental health. So when in Bristol we had meetings with the guys from Talk Club and kind of incorporated it into the workshops.
That's great.
Yeah, we originally tried a partnership with Andy's Man Club, who were really down for it at first, and then we just couldn't get in contact with them, which was mad. And then it turned out that the guy that runs Talk Club plays football with my dad.
Wow!
so that was quite
that's perfect.
So we just went and chatted to him, and he was just super keen to help us. He taught us how he runs his talk clubs, which gave us a lot of inspiration for creating our workshops, which were like sort of half contemporary theatre, half these like talk clubs that were like getting like being open about how you're feeling, and just like clocking how you're feeling each day is just like can be really helpful just to mark moments.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you ran many workshops, and how did you find that? Because that is something that I think I would be interested in. I did. Have you ever heard of Camp America?
I've heard of Camp America.
Yeah, so it's like a summer camp, and you go to America, and there's like loads of different activities that you do. So you can do like sports, you can do lifeguarding, you can do like literally rock climbing. Like there's so many, and I did drama in 2024, so the summer that's just gone, and I'm going back again, and I feel like I learned so much from that, like because I was like technically a teacher, like I was in charge of these, every class was like 15 kids, and my co-counselor actually got fired, so I was the only drama for the whole of the summer. So it was really intense, but it taught me so much. And I think doing workshops with kids must be very different to like more people our age, and I think I don't know what I'd want to focus more on, but yeah, I don't know.
I think they're transferable, because I did kids workshops when I was down doing the residency at Bristol Vic, and I then when I came back up to Manchester, I did a workshop for younger kids and then older kids at Contact. And for the younger kids, that's what I was used to, those workshops that I've done, so I had all of these games. And then for the older kids, I didn't really play any of these games because in my head I was sort of thinking like they're a bit older, maybe they need to. And then the feedback that I got from Contact afterwards was like still do the games. The adults want to play these games.
No, it's true, to be fair. Whenever I'm in a workshop and we play games, like to start it really breaks the ice, and it's just fun, isn't it? And you take different things away from it from what a kid would. And I think
it's me energized.
Yeah, true.
I've actually Z Arts. So I'm meeting up with Tabitha. I don't know if you know her. I'm meeting up
with my boss actually.
Oh, really? I'm meeting up with Tabitha on Friday.
Oh, cool.
Friday, about the training course that they do, because they obviously do like they work with kids. So what do you know about that? Go on. Give me more. This is great.
Well, so I'm a story explorer. So each year Z Arts commission an artist. I think this year actually it's Z Arts doing it themselves rather than bringing anyone else in. and they create these immersive experiences for kids. And so last year it was called the 100 Story Hotel, and it was about there being 100 stories in this hotel, but the 100th story was missing, so it was only the 99-story hotel. What a disaster. So the kids had to go around trying to find this final story and stuff. And I would play Gertie the gardener, who was leading them on this mission. And then this year it's going to be Alice in Wonderland, and that's the one that they're sort of doing themselves.
Yeah, and our mate Jess, who was on the course with us as well, actually, has just recently got us funding to do a kids show with Carney folk at Z Arts as well.
Sick. Oh, tell me more about Carney folk. I've seen the Instagram page, but I don't know that much about it, and it just it looks like such a fun thing. And like
it's going really well, to be fair.
So how is that? Like, how did it start? What got you?
Jake's the one that started it in Bristol.
I thought exactly.
It was all from a house party, actually.
Wow.
Really? You see, the house party as well.
And I was just meeting all of these people for like the first ever time, and we just really got on. And I had recently been chatting to my mate Xander, who wanted to put on a theatre piece in the Volunteer Tavern in Bristol. And I was chatting to all these people about an idea that I had of like immersive theatre that could all be like fantastical vibes of like medieval times of fairies, witches and goblins and stuff. And they were all proper up for it. It turned out they were musicians, actors, jugglers, puppet makers and stuff.
Wow.
They were like the perfect people
to
oh my God. Bring in for the group. And then the origin of like why it's like fantasy or like why it's witches and everything like that is because the Volunteer Tavern is based on a plot of land which was just outside the city walls of Bristol when it was still called Brigstow, and they used to exile people, mainly witches, queer people and entertainers. So we decided to get a group of witches, queer people, and entertainers, and then have a big party in the volley.
Wow.
And it's just snowballed ever since.
Wow. So for anyone who's listening, can you give like a something that they can imagine, like what it looks like? So obviously I've seen pictures and things like.
What would a night look like? Well, it changes every single time. So we do them once a month, and every month the theme of the event is different.
Cool.
And it'll be a different storyline.
That's fun.
But I guess walking into it, pretty much you're gonna have to talk to all these characters, which have all got their own problem going on. But there's a main storyline that you can follow. There will be live music as well.
So we're talking like maybe a goblin will come up to you and explain that like someone's stolen his lucky shoe.
Right.
And then so you've got to go over and speak to the wizard about that. But the wizard's too busy doing a bass solo on stage to talk
of course,
to you.
Yeah.
So you've got to go up on stage maybe and sing a song with him.
I love that.
That's so fun.
It's all so silly. And the one this month that we're potentially doing on the 28th of March will be like a battle of the bands at Withington Public Hall, if anyone wants to come
Love
along.
that.
What date?
Absolutely.
Let me put that down. 28th of March.
Friday, 28th of March. But yeah, we're also like always looking for more performers.
Because it's a really open thing.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Anyone can join if they want to, if they feel inclined that they want to get involved in one way or another. Like that's the best part about it.
Yeah.
Like we've just set it up as an official cooperative business as well.
Cool.
So we've got more legitimate structures in place.
Yeah.
So it's much more of a free, chill, like just have fun.
Yeah,
type
exactly.
Of thing. It's not very.
Bring a recorder.
Exactly.
I can't play any instruments.
That's okay.
What are they called? Triangles. That'll be me.
But yeah, I mean, just as well to say, like last year they got Carney folk started getting booked for festivals as well. So like Boomtown.
I was gonna say that's so weird. I was gonna say it's reminding me of Boomtown.
Yeah. Well, Carney folk got hired to run an entire section of the immersive theatre of Boomtown last year and this year as well. And yeah, that's just bringing up more and more opportunities because there's another festival that we're going to be doing this year called Not a Cult. Which is a similar thing. It's all very narrative driven, so they've asked us to be part of like the creative team with the narrative and stuff as well.
And if anyone listening doesn't understand exactly what Boomtown and Not a Cult is, it's sort of like it is a festival, but it's also as if you sort of step into this immersive theatre world with actors walking about, and by chatting to them, they'll send you on quests, and they all lead up to a big overarching storyline which you can affect.
Yeah, which is so cool.
That is so fun.
Yeah.
So that I was gonna ask, have you got any like upcoming projects or like any collaborations? But obviously,
There's lots in the works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite a
great.
few.
There's
Yeah,
always a
go
lot.
ahead.
We
Yeah.
got well this Friday we're going to Sheffield.
Hey!
you're from
Yeah, I'm from Sheffield. Come on.
To do a collaboration with a group called Side Quest, who are like improvised Dungeons and Dragons actors.
Okay.
So we're joining forces, kind of folk, with them to do with something in Sheffield this Friday. Then in April we're collaborating with the Canal Street Kings, the Drag Kings, and we're going to be doing something on Canal Street, which will be fun. In May we might be teaming up with Beg, Steal and Borrow and Solar Flare.
Yeah.
Do you know Beg,
Yes,
Steal and
I
Borrow?
do. That's cool.
Yeah, to do this big sort of like fashion masquerade ball murder mystery,
Sick.
Yes.
which will be fun. And then festival season where Boomtown,
Not
Not a
cool.
Cult,
And fingers crossed, Shambhala.
hopefully Shambhala.
Yeah.
We're hoping for.
What's
Yeah.
Shambhala?
Sort of like a smaller Boomtown,
Yeah.
Cool.
I suppose.
Not heard of it.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Sounds lovely.
It's like
Yeah.
it's near. It's kind. I don't think it's even near Bristol, but like everyone from Bristol goes.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
got one of
yeah.
those. Yeah.
And then there's like wizards versus lizards there and stuff.
Wow.
Oh,
and
it's
just,
so
like, proper
silly.
cool.
I love it. It's
Yeah.
like so unserious.
Yeah.
It's like, why am I doing something serious when I can just have fun?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
love
yeah.
that. That's why when you two first came in to do a talk,
Mm.
I don't know if you remember, you probably do, because but
Wait,
that was
what?
like, I actually, like, I'm about to make your heads really big here, because I was listening to you, and that's what made me want to have you in this podcast, because you've done so much, and I feel like us finishing uni now, we've got, what, a few months?
Oh.
We've got a few months left,
Oh
and
my
then we're
God.
done, and it's like, you're in the real world, and it's like, I feel like when I think of this course, I'm like, do people actually do anything after it? Because I'm that type of person. I want to, like, I want to do things, and it's just, I think you should both be really proud of yourself.
Thank you.
It's
But
amazing.
it is like up to you though, because you have to be proactive.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
you do.
exactly. That's the thing.
You
It's
do-
not, you can't lay back and
Uh-huh.
expect it to come to you.
Yeah, exactly. You definitely do have to put the work in, but it is also really worth pursuing exactly what you want to be doing,
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise, because you need the drive.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason why we really felt like we wanted to continue with If It's to Break, and then because we cared so much about that project, and then with Carney Folk because that's like a passion project. I feel like with both of them, they sort of drive themselves, because it's like we really want to just see that happen in the world.
Yeah.
So I think like find whatever it is that you really want to do, and that will hopefully give you enough of energy and motivation to
Yeah,
pursue it.
definitely. I love that.
I'm going to move on to talk about Spotlight. So I remember, I can't remember if it was both of you or one of you's, Jake,
Yeah,
you're
it's
with
Jake.
Spotlight. So I'm looking into it. I'm trying to get headshots and things like that to join Spotlight. I want to just know, like, was joining Spotlight for you an important step, or like as a theatre professional, and how did it impact your career? Is it?
As a theatre professional, no. As an actor, it gave me a lot of opportunities that I wouldn't have been able to access otherwise.
Okay.
So I got quite lucky. I was on Spotlight, and I was approached by someone who saw that I was without an agent on Spotlight, and they just
Yeah, that was my
asked-
next
asked if-
question. So you didn't have an agent. You joined.
I joined Spotlight without an agent. The reason why I joined was because I did the Ardent 8 course. I don't know if you guys get to audition or if it's every 2 years.
Oh, we've not heard about that.
Okay.
It's a really great course, and they choose people from across the country, and they sort of give them acting training in London for people who otherwise wouldn't have been able to sort of like get that. Is a really great course, but one of the things they said is like you should get a Spotlight, because they had casting directors come in and they were like, when we're looking for people, we only check Spotlight. It's sort of like our Facebook, and if you don't have Spotlight, then we can't find you on it. That's very much if you want to go down the traditional acting. Route.
Yeah.
And so I tried it out. I went on Spotlight. I got really lucky, because this doesn't happen to many people. But they got in touch, and I I got an agent, but I haven't had anything actually come from it. Like they've given me, I'd say maybe like 30 self-tape opportunities. And like some of them, they'd go to like the next stage. And people say it's usually like 1 in 60 with self-tapes and stuff. But I mean that's something that I got all of those opportunities, but at the same time, I haven't necessarily got anything out of Spotlight. They've just given me more chances, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's something to look into if you purely want to be an actor, and if you want to sort of like go into film and stuff, it's really useful. You can approach agents and you can send them your Spotlight and a self-tape, and that's how the usual route of getting an agent would be. But I'd say that you don't need it.
It's not essential.
I was kind of just going to make a point, to be fair. Obviously, I'm in quite a different position to Jake because he's got more specific acting experience, I guess, being with Bristol Old Vic and stuff. And I definitely don't have a Spotlight profile. I've kind of, like, when you were just asked about being a theatre professional or like an actor, I've definitely kind of view those things a bit differently. Because, like, I'm not pursuing an acting career and pursuing my professional theatre career.
And
like,
there's a difference, isn't there?
And in my specific position, I feel like if I'm going to act, I'm going to act in something that I've made myself.
So that's the different points of view.
Like how Jake was saying, like, pursue what drives you.
Absolutely.
100%.
You absolutely can wait around hoping for other people to be making plays that then you can audition for, but I feel like if you really have that drive, like you can do it yourself.
You don't need to wait.
Exactly.
For anyone who's listening, because I know obviously mainly people on our course will be listening, but I know a few people. We had like a talk with a casting director. Is she a casting director?
Yes.
And she was talking about Spotlight, and I feel like quite a lot of people were interested in it. So, can you maybe walk us through the process of joining it? Like any challenges, surprises, like what kind of headshots or tapes? Any tips?
Our biggest challenge is the money.
100%.
Yeah, I think if you're not a student, it's about like 200 quid.
200.
Wow.
Each
a
year.
year.
Whoa. That would be like one payment.
No.
Not in this
it's like a membership.
Yeah. Which does just make it really inaccessible to a lot of people, which is shit.
I think they do that on purpose. I don't think they want a lot of people on it. Because like the casting director, she was saying how when, like, if they ever use Spotlight to find people, they use it like Facebook, but because so many people are the same, like, it's hard, and I feel like they don't actually want that many people on it, if that makes sense. Maybe that's me being stupid, but I don't know, like when she showed us that, like, everyone's face, I'm like, God, they all look the same, how do they choose? Do you know what I mean? Obviously there's the self-tapes and everything like that, but
I think it definitely is a choice to make it that expensive. It is just a shame that is the main one that people use. So that's definitely a barrier. And then with headshots, again, money, like, and people, and there are really good headshot photographers in Manchester, but the ones that a lot of the agents want you to use are down in London. So then, you've got to pay for a travel down to London, and then you've got to pay on top of that the huge fees for the headshots. When we were here, they managed to sort us headshots.
Did you get headshots?
Oh.
Yeah. See, this is what we've asked about recently because... who said it? Someone mentioned it to Neil, I think, about if we get headshots, and I think they are sorting something, but it's like when are we gonna
Let's hope that you guys, being the guinea pigs, set the tone.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep doing that
that's
for
good.
us.
Your first year, they got you headshots.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that we kind of push forward to them as well. Really.
Yeah, because it is something that you need, no matter what you go into.
For sure.
So.
It's like the inequality in the DCP course and the acting course, and the fact that, like,
let's talk about that. How did you find like being on the DCP course instead of the acting course? Like, what was the relationship with them?
Well, there wasn't one really.
Literally same. Yeah.
Which was a bit. I think it's better now. I've heard, but when we were there, like, we weren't allowed to use like I think they got 3 or 4 floors full of spaces.
What?
And we had 3 rooms.
Oh my
joking?
god.
Yeah.
What, like you weren't allowed to book certain rooms because it was their rooms, or like as in like your classes weren't in?
Oh yeah.
Classes, but
kind
also
of
both. Yeah.
Really?
I don't know if you're now allowed to use the main theatre, but we were never
Just
allowed
for
to
Project
use
Only for
4.
Project 4.
Oh, that's
See,
cool.
we didn't even get that.
We
That's
didn't.
did you
mental.
not?
No.
Yeah.
Which you know, I mean.
Oh, that's a shame. That.
Yeah.
Why
yeah,
not? It's there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's what we said.
That's
Yeah.
so bad.
I don't think there was actually any beef, not any real beef
No,
between
yeah,
the two.
no, it's the same with us. It's not actually.
No, not
real
at
beef.
all.
It's just very
Yeah.
like. I don't know. You know, like we've booked a room out, and then they come in and they're like, "We're the acting students," and I'm like,
we've booked.
"And I've booked it." So what are you trying to say?
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It is hard to not be tribal about it. Like you're part of the DCP, and therefore like
Yeah.
you're not an acting student.
Yeah,
And stuff.
of course.
Yeah.
But I think that like the more you can sort of connect with the acting
Definitely.
students and sort
Yeah.
of make stuff with them as well, because like a lot of them are great.
They are.
Yeah,
We've had some crossovers now with the filmmaking students,
Oh yeah.
which
Cool.
is great.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
And we kept saying, why have we not done this?
Yeah.
Sooner.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
true.
talking about that, I'm really annoyed, and I'm going to share why I'm annoyed.
Oh, go on.
So in second
Please.
year, last year, I did a short film kind of for a group of second years, right? Didn't know them, did it with my free will, like, because obviously it's good for me as well, so I just did it. Got so this was it was throughout like 2 full days. So I was with them for 2 full days of filming, and one of the days I got sent to this like random in the middle of nowhere like building, and I'd never met these people before, and I was like, why am I actually doing this? And then they tied me up. I got a bag over my head, and I did it, and I did this.
That was the
this
film.
That
That
was,
was
the
just
film, not just they didn't just do that.
Okay.
And so
that
obviously
clear.
they filmed this film, and I've put a lot of effort in. I even scraped my car because I took us to a place. I took us so we didn't have to get an Uber to a film place. Like I went through it
Yeah,
with them.
you did.
And I've asked them for the film because obviously they did it last year. I messaged one of them, and he's like, "We're not happy with the editing."
Oh, sure.
And I'm like, "Yeah, but please, can you still send it to me? Or even
Yeah.
if you've got little clips." He's like, "Yeah, I will do." Hasn't replied. So I messaged another one. Please, hasn't replied. And now I'm like, I went to 2 days. I went through that, which I know it's not a lot, but I wanted something from that as well.
No, still,
Yeah.
and like the amount of effort that you put in
That's
on those
what I
days, because me
mean.
and Jake have done at uni we did loads of short films.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I get the grind.
I'm really
Definitely.
because now I'm wanting to make the self tapes. I'm wanting to do things like that for just when I leave, so then I don't have to do it all at home. So then I can start with whatever I'm wanting to do. And I'm trying to make this film tape, and I'm like, I need more,
Yeah.
and I've not got it.
Yeah.
I'm
That's.
very angry about it.
Keep chasing
I
that.
am.
Yeah.
I might even ask Neil for like the filmmaking, like whoever's like in charge, and see if she's
Go
got
straight
it.
to the boss.
You know,
Yeah.
like
the
she might
teacher.
have like
Yeah, dress them
if
up.
they handed it in, then surely she has the work, and I
Yeah.
can say send it to me.
Yeah.
Well,
we
that's a good
did
point.
that. We did an MA short film.
Yeah,
again.
that was fun.
That was really fun, and they sent it to me. So
Sick. So
Is
it's
it
just
that
on
hot?
there,
So
yeah.
if you're listening,
So
no, I'm
if
joking,
you're
I'm
listening, let me
joking.
name and shake.
No.
Right, I think we might have to wrap up on this episode of the Dressing Room Diaries. A huge thank you to Jake and Chris for sharing
Thank
your
you.
experience with us. Thank you so much. It's been really interesting to hear about the reality of starting a theatre company and everything that you've done after uni. So I think it will be really helpful for everyone who's listening. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. See you next time. Bye.
The Dressing Room Diaries.